that. And this note says to me, the Laura Dion-Jones September Show Challenge. Who will be the first to lose 10 pounds? George Rollins and Mike Hunziker, or the diva herself, Laura Dion-Jones? Funny, you should slip me this note. Oh, wise one in the corner.
George.
Because I was just thinking, you know, from working with my Elgin's Biggest Losers, and I've lost like 150 pounds, and I could lose, I'm not a size 8. 12, I could deal with. But you know what? Considering I've been chronically obese my whole life, like Gina Lola Brigida says, there comes a time in every woman's life where she's got to choose between her face and her butt. And I'm choosing my face right now. But I do want to shave off another 10 pounds before the end of the year. This, you're pinning me down to September. I'm going to really have to put the burners on to shave off 10 pounds in a month.
Is this a yes?
Yeah, this is a yes, because
right.
he's pointing around. Jeff Myers really doesn't need to lose anything. You've weighed this way since you're in high school. Mikey, on the other hand, and George, on the other hand. We will talk about this after the show, but I think this is something that we should do.
But we could challenge you to buff up there, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
Buff up.
Buff up. Isn't that, thank
Well
you,
said,
Dr.
Claire.
That
Your
was,
microphone would be working.
that's
Well,
a
I'll try to
good
buff up,
one.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
A little definition didn't hurt.
And you know what? I want to give a big thanks to Snob Hounds and Casey Toole, more weekly sponsors of ours. And now it's time to turn our attention to the Little Angels guests. Let me introduce Shelley Lewis, Executive Director of Little Angels, a wonderful home for the kids and young adults with severe disabilities and complex medical needs, along with her associate Mary Jean Atkins, and she's the Development Director of Little Angels as well. And, okay, gals, who wants to go first? Because...
Go ahead, Shelley.
Well, for those listeners, for those of our listeners who are perhaps not familiar with Little Angels Home, tell us how it all began, first of all, because I just found out more or less about it today.
Well, Little Angels has been around for over 50 years, and we can't talk about Little Angels without talking about my mother, Pat Wasman. She was a very, very special lady who grew up in the Elgin area, was a nurse, and started out really very innocently caring for a handicapped child, a child of a physician that she worked with. And I happen to have 10 brothers and sisters, so my mom was obviously a gal who loved children. And I think the community just noticed that she was providing care to this, this special child, and other families had that need. They couldn't provide some very intense care around the clock. So, you know, word got out that she was doing this, and families came to her saying, you know, I need some help as well. And that's how Little Angels started, just very, very simply by caring for one child, and all of a sudden that one child grew into several children. We brought more children into my family home. I was 3 years old at the time my mother started this. My mother also had another nurse who partnered with her, and for the first several years, the two of them provided this care essentially around the clock. And it grew from there.
God bless.
Started out in a single-family residential home, and as their good work, you know, got out there, and they had more and more requests, my parents actually built Little Angels on its current site today out on Summit Street, just east of Elgin. And actually that building was financed in part by the physician whose child they first cared for.
Wow.
They built that building before there were any rules and regulations for this type of care. And in fact, my mother was very instrumental in working with the state of Illinois, the various state agencies, to develop licensure categories, rules and regulations, reimbursement methodologies. She really did forge the way in terms of this very specialized care. Little Angels is one of 10 facilities in the state of Illinois that provides care to children and young adults who are very profoundly handicapped and very medically complex. We are very, very unique, and as I said, my mother really was one of the first
she was
founding
on the edge.
people. Yeah,
Yes.
she was. She really was. Amazing energy. And I, being one of 11 children, I actually have 5 brothers and sisters on either side of me. I call myself the maladapted middle child, but I think she groomed me from kindergarten on. She always said that I would take over Little Angels someday. I always said, nope, not going to do it.
And here you are.
I did have a passion for nursing, and I knew from an early age on that I wanted to be a nurse. I graduated from nursing school and went on to my love at the time, which was burn nursing. I worked for 2 years at Loyola University in their burn unit.
No kidding.
And living in Chicago at the time, and I remember one evening my mother giving me a phone call saying, I need you. I said, okay, I'll be there. Packed up my things, moved back home, and my mother, I walked in the door, my mother walked out the door. That was over 30 years ago.
Wow.
And here I am really doing what I love to do. It is a passion.
It shows.
Yeah, well, we love what we do. We care for some very, very wonderful children and young adults. They deserve the best care that's available, and Little Angels is dedicated to provide that care.
I saw that today when I was there, in every corner, every square inch of that whole entire place. Tell us about the connection between Little Angels and Dr. Clara Leos's dad, because I think it's amazing how this worked out today, totally unpremeditated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just how she came on. First it was Becky, and then, you know, like Steve Hartman says, everybody has a story, and then we uncovered Becky's story with the CFS and got Dr. Claire on, and then all of a sudden you guys are on, and then there's a special connection between you and Dr. Claire's dad.
There sure is. Claire's dad, Dr. Bob Elias, was our first medical director at Little Angels. I'm not sure how Mom met him. It must have been because of all of the kids. He must have been my family's pediatrician.
Well, I think maybe they worked at the hospital
Did they
together
do that
too.
beforehand?
Because Betty Brown, who many of you know, also worked with your mom at the hospital, and
Oh,
she has some
yes.
fun stories about
Yes.
that too.
Yeah. At any rate, you know, Dr. Elias was our first medical director. My mom and Dr. Elias, I think, were best of pals for many, many, many years. Dr. Elias provided all of the medical care for our very special kids until he retired. And it was devastating when he did retire, because we had to go find somebody else with those special qualities that are so difficult to find in not only a doctor, but just a human being. Yeah, he was a wonderful, wonderful man.
And you were really blessed to have him in the capacity that you did for as long as you did.
Yes, we were.
How can, you know something, with the enormous state deficit, how important has fundraising become on a private level for you?
Going back to, gosh, almost 18 years ago, we were funded, you know, we rely on Medicaid as our primary source of revenue. And up until 18 years ago, we were reimbursed on our cost of providing that care. We submitted a cost report every year, and back in 1992, they essentially froze our rates. They no longer reimburse us based on what it costs for us to provide that care. And as the years have proceeded, we have had a few rate increases here and there. We've had a few rate decreases here and there. But the general theme has been to not only not pay us what it costs to provide quality care, but also to delay payments.
From the state?
From the state, along with every other social service provider in the state of Illinois. We wait up to 6 months to be reimbursed for the care we provide through the Medicaid program. And obviously that means we have to go out and borrow a lot of money to meet our cash flow needs, pay our employees, pay our vendors, purchase the medical supplies needed to provide the care. And as years go on, it really gets harder and harder. So
Talk about stress.
as each year advances, we rely more and more on fundraising to cover that difference between what we get reimbursed to provide the care and what it actually costs to provide the care.
How do you find your fundraising funds? I know you have a Little Angels Pledge Run at the end of May. Tell us a little bit about that. I was told the story about it by Mary Jean over here.
We were approached, I want to say, is it 24 years ago now, Mary Jean? By the then director of the Elgin area Harley Owners Group. They were a new HOG for short, a new HOG chapter in the city of Elgin, through Fisher's Harley Davidson, and part of their whole purpose is to not only have fun riding, but also to do charitable work. So this new HOG chapter went in search of a charity that they could do some fundraising for. They went to 2 agencies before coming to Little Angels. They were turned down by those 2 agencies because of the biker image. They felt it would be a negative image for their agencies. And I remember to this day the biker rolling in down our driveway at Little Angels on his motorcycle, looking like the typical biker, long hair, beard. He came into my office smoking a unfiltered Camel cigarette with
Lucky that's all it was.
inch of ash hanging off.
Kidding.
And said, we're looking for somebody to raise money for. And I said, what can I do to help? That first year they brought in, I think it was like $7,000. The next year it went up to $30-some thousand, and over the course of the last 23 years, they have raised how many millions, Mary Jean?
A little over $4 million.
Oh my
God
God.
bless, huh?
$4 million.
Those motorcycle
Yeah.
people.
What you see at Little Angels today in terms of our beautiful buildings, the additions we put on,
That was incredible.
the expensive medical equipment inside really have were made possible because of this one event. And it used to be that was enough. But this one event is not enough anymore. We have to find other creative ways to raise money.
I hear you have a pretty creative way coming up in September. It's one heck of an upcoming event, a little night music. Tell us about it.
I'm going to turn that one over to Mary Jean.
Well, thank you. We are very excited. This is our first formal event. This is our first gala. Angel Songs is the event, and the theme is A Little Night Music. It will take place at the San Filippo Estate on September 25th. It's just very exciting for us. We're going to have a mansion tour at the San Filippo Estate. I don't know if any of you have ever been to the San Filippo Estate. It's an amazing estate.
have.
Oh, a few hands are being raised.
It's gorgeous.
George Rawlinson has been there.
Me?
It's an amazing estate. We'll start with a mansion tour. They have in their home, the San Filippo home, the world's largest theater pipe organ. And we will have a concert being performed on that organ as well during the tour. We'll then move to the Carousel Pavilion, which is another house on the estate. And we will have a dinner, an auction, a raffle. We have a jazz singer, Joe Farrar, who's a Chicago jazz singer there, singing during the cocktail hour. It's going to be a very fun night.
No
Very
kidding.
fun night,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward
Yeah,
to
we're
going.
Really excited.
Tell us, how important is the Parents Association at Little Angels with what you do?
Well, the Parents Association is our not-for-profit arm, and we have a new name. The Parents Association is now called the Center for Exceptional Care, and they are our not-for-profit fundraising arm. So they are more and more important all the time, actually.
What about the Kathy Freeman Center? Tell us about that.
The Kathy Freeman Center for Developmental Training is a developmental training center that our not-for-profit arm owns and operates. And that's a day training center for young adults with severe handicaps. When our school-age residents all go off to school, they all go to their local school district schools for their programming. Then when they hit age 21, they age out of school, and developmental training is the appropriate next step for people with severe disabilities. And we decided that we, after years of sending our residents out to other developmental training programs, we decided that we wanted to run our own. So we, through Pledge Run fundraising, were able to build the Kathy Freeman Center for Developmental Training, and we now have all of our own residents attend our own program every day. And we also have some community members who still live at home, some young adults who with severe handicaps who still live in their family home, come to our program for our day programming as well.
How about the kids at your facility at Little Angels who do go to school? Then do they get time at the developmental program also?
No, they receive their programming at their school program.
Yeah.
Year-round, right. And then they just come home at the end of the day just like all other kids do. They come home, they rest for a little while, then they just get up for activities at night at Little Angels in the residence. But they receive their programming at Little Angels and at their school.
Okay.
Okay.